And joining us now on the air and also through video, you can see it at supertalk.fm/watch. Dr. Steve Bishop, president of Southwest Mississippi Community College in Summit. Doc, how you doing this morning, man?
Doing great, Dave. How are you this morning? Thanks for having me today on SuperTalk, Mississippi.
Thank you. I'll bet this is probably the first video interview you've ever done.
You're exactly right, and I'm thankful it's with you, Dave. I'm looking forward to it.
I basically think that he just implied that this is just a lay down interview. So boxers or briefs? Let's just get to. No, I'm joking. Now, this has been the weirdest year ever, I think, in all areas, but especially with school. Walk us through, if you would, what has happened at Southwest Mississippi Community College during this pandemic period.
Well, Dave, Southwest has been much like a lot of our other community colleges and universities in Mississippi, as we have transitioned from the face-to-face class to the online way of instruction. Back on March 18th was when we decided to transition from the face-to-face classes to the online instruction. We began that process officially, though, on the 23rd of March. And certainly our faculty have done an outstanding job with making sure that their classes were taught, the objectives were taken care of, and our faculty members were able to offer instruction to our students. And our students and administration have done an outstanding job of making sure that process was as good as possible for our students. Definitely different, something that we're not accustomed to, we're not planning on. So that's something that we're excited about, making sure that they were able to get what they needed. Been very challenging, and it's been very challenging as well with our career technical classes as well. So that was a little bit different for us. We were able to come back a week or two right after spring break and finish the objectives for those skill labs and those things such as that. So it's worked out with the transition, and we're hoping that our students have done well, and we're hoping that they have gotten what they need, and we feel like that they have. And now we're getting closer to graduation time, and we've looked back on this semester and realized that we've done a pretty good job. We've learned a great deal, and we're looking forward to planning for the summer and the fall as well. But we've had weekly conversations with the presidents from the other community colleges in Mississippi, and we have worked well together with the support of our community college board. And we're doing the best we can, and I think we've had a successful semester.
Well, and you mentioned that. Has there been any, as you talk back and forth and you talk about working well with the other community colleges, has there been any kind of movement to just kind of make it uniform what you were doing to the best of your abilities? Because each school is different, obviously, but to kind of have the same basic overlying plan in place to work with this? Or is it more a case of just everybody learning from everybody else, what worked for them, what didn't work for them, to kind of come up with that cohesive plan?
Our community college system in Mississippi is something that we can celebrate. We can be very proud of our community college system. We have 15 strong community colleges. And one great thing about it is that we work very well together. We're all autonomous. We have our own boards. Matter of fact, I have a board meeting this evening. That's one reason I have my suit on. I dressed up for you, Dave, but I also have a board meeting in a little while. But
see, I thought it was just for me. You had to ruin it by mentioning the board meeting.
I know. I haven't put on a suit in several weeks, so it kind of feels back to normal. So, but yeah, we have certainly had discussions each week, trying to learn from one another, making sure that we're not out there on the limb by ourselves. At the same time, we are autonomous. We make our own decisions. However, a lot of the decisions that we've made, we have stuck together, and we have made very similar decisions. We all are doing it a little bit different way, but we all are really making sure that our students are taken care of, our employees are taken care of. And certainly we like to have a united front, and we do. But at the same time, we can make our own decisions. And I think that's what makes us strong, because all of us are a little bit different, but all of us have the same mission, if that makes sense. I think that's something valuable that we have, that we can work together, we can learn from one another. We're all in the business of making Mississippi better. We're in the business of helping people. We're in the business of making people more employable. And that's one thing that we're going to try to do even now. We're in the process of enhancing our role of restoring our economy. We think that the Mississippi community colleges can play a great role there, making sure that there are people out there who need skill training, people out there who want to go back to school and get an Associates of Arts degree, Associates of Applied Science degree, or if they need some assistance in workforce training. So we feel like as a system, as all 15 community colleges all over Mississippi, we are poised to do our part and more in restoring Mississippi's economy. And we take pride in that.
Well, and I think it is a very important part. And there was a huge focus before we knew what COVID-19 was on workforce development, which, the community colleges play a huge role in that. And it does help boost the economy because, well, people get skills. And these aren't, we were joking about in the last segment about I took some liberal arts classes in college. These are demonstrable skills. These are skills that you get certifications for that can directly equate into a job and better pay and better benefits, which is what everybody should be working toward, I would think. And the community college system does a great job of enabling that.
Absolutely. We're all comprehensive community colleges. As I mentioned earlier, we do offer the academic transfer coursework. We offer the career technical training, but also the workforce side is very important for the existing employers in our areas. If they need to enhance skill training, if something new comes down the pike where we as a local community college can assist them, making sure they get proper training so that they will be better employees. And ultimately, that will be a better company, a better industry for the area. Also, it's a wonderful way to show a potential business industry if they're wanting to come into our area or to come into our state. The local community colleges can work with them, making sure that whatever they need as far as skill training for the employees, if it be something very specific, and to make sure that they will be able to offer that to our area, have qualified workers in the area. Absolutely, those certifications on top of a degree is certainly valuable, and we push that, and we celebrate that we can not only be here for campus events that they certainly can enjoy, but we can help them out. We can make their company, we can make their business better by providing the workforce training at the local community college.
You talked about making adjustments, and we've got a break coming up here in just a minute or so. So just very quickly, do you feel that the adjustments that you had to make because of the pandemic to the way things operated were made easier by the fact that a lot of this stuff was already in place as far as distance learning and alternative ways to do it because you deal with a lot of non-traditional students? Do you think that helped make it easier to make that adjustment?
Absolutely. Just a little plug for our college. 2 years ago, Southwest was recognized as the #1 online community college in America, and that was just one survey that was done. But all of our community colleges are right up there. We all basically do the same thing, but certainly our academic classes were already leaning in that direction. Some of our classes were hybrid. Many of our courses that we have scheduled for the summer and fall are already online, as they typically are. So that transition from face-to-face to online for academic was not that big of a stretch, even though it did take some maneuvering for that to take place. Now, on the career technical side, that was a little more challenging. As I mentioned earlier, we did allow our students to stay another week or so, maybe 10 days, to complete the skill training objectives. And then we finished the remainder of the semester online for them.
It's hard to demonstrate that you know how to dig a well online.
That's right. Sometimes you got to get your hands dirty, and that's something that we were able to get in, thankfully. And we're planning on maybe trying to get those skills taught early on in the semester. So if we have to cut our semester short again, we can have that in place and have that completed. And then, of course, we can finish out the semester online.
Number one, don't talk about having to do this again, Steve. But number two, can you hold on through the break? I got a couple more things to ask you real quick if you got the time.
Absolutely. Thank you.
He's got a suit on. We can't waste that. We'll continue with Dr. Steve Bishop coming up next on SuperTalk Mississippi. And joining us both on the air and on video. You can see it at supertalk.fm/watch. Dr. Steve Bishop from Southwest Mississippi Community College. Now, we were talking before the break about the transition and how it was made easier. Have you heard of any problems, especially with the community colleges in some of the more rural areas, as far as students being able to have internet access to do the things online they need to do to finish up?
There have been some challenges about that, Dave. Yes, a lot of our community college students live in rural areas, and fortunately, many of those have been able to find hot spots, if you will, in their local communities, whether it be a local library or their local churches, possibly. We did have a meeting this morning with our community college presidents, and one thing that was a concern was just what you mentioned, internet access. Online instruction is wonderful. It's a way to go in many cases. But if you don't have the basics of having that, having good, strong Wi-Fi or internet coverage, it doesn't do you any good. I had just a personal story. About a week and a half ago, I had a student come to my house here on campus at Southwest. Didn't know what was going on. He came in, he didn't come in, but he just came to the front door, knocked on, had his mask on. He said, I'm in trouble here. I need some help. He didn't necessarily say, "Good morning, Dr. Bishop. How are you doing?" He went right to the point, and I don't blame him. He said, "I've got to take a proctored exam. I've got to finish up my semester." We have a policy where if a student takes an online course, they have to, they're required to take at least one proctored exam. Well, he needed to do that. Well, we have contracted with a company for online proctoring, where a student at a remote location can actually take a proctored exam with a camera watching them take their test. But he did not have that access. We had made a decision probably 3 or 4 days prior to his visit to my house, though, that we were going to open up our proctoring lab for limited numbers of students. At that time, we said, 9 or less. When you include the proctor, that will be the 10th person. So we were able to do that. He was able to come on campus and take his exam, but it was a challenge and a difficult situation for this particular student. And there were probably numerous other students who had the same issue. So that's something that our state has been discussing, making sure that students have appropriate internet so that they will be able to complete these courses. So yeah, absolutely, that is still a concern.
Well, let me ask you this, even in the face of that, and you mentioned last segment, and I kind of joked about it, in case something like this pops up again, which, as we all know, is a possibility even as soon as this fall. Do you see it moving more towards online and remote instruction just because of the inertia that we've gotten from this semester moving forward?
Well, I would think that would be a safe assumption that, if we have a continuing pandemic or another pandemic, we would need to be poised and ready to offer a robust online instruction. And that's what we're doing. And I think as the days progress, we're getting closer and closer to being able to do that. And I think most of the community colleges and universities have been able to do that already. We have here at Southwest, we have built a summer school schedule that's mainly online, but we have scheduled some face-to-face classes. Now, that could change, of course. And when I say we've scheduled some face-to-face classes, the ones that we have scheduled typically are small in number anyway, being classes like microbiology, organic chemistry, things such as that, where you're going to have 8 or 10 students in there anyway, maybe even 7 or 8. But those students will need the lab, and we can spread those students out in a larger classroom. We can have masks. We've ordered several hundred masks for the college with our college logo on the mask, and we're going to present those to students if we have classes, if we indeed follow through with having these classes, if we're able to. We've ordered gallons of hand sanitizer. We've ordered the plexiglass where it's sneeze guards and things such as that. So we're putting in some protocol, if you will, or some protective measures to allow something like this to possibly happen. So we may not have the face-to-face, but we're hoping that we will have those types of face-to-face classes. Now, we're going to cram, 50 people into one classroom, a small classroom, no. But we are going to possibly spread our students out in larger classrooms. I mean, we have classrooms that can hold 75. We have a small auditorium that can hold 150. We have a larger auditorium that can hold 1,000. So we're going to try to do our best and brainstorm and use our imagination to make some type of face-to-face happen with a small number of our classes this summer. But most of our classes will be online. And I certainly think online is here to stay. If you look at the previous years, online instruction has grown substantially over the past decade, even the last 5 or 6 years within our state, within our country. It's something that is very popular. It gives students very much flexibility, and also hybrid type courses where you can have some face-to-face, some online, and you will not have to meet as often. But of course, the criteria is covered, the information is covered, objectives are covered, and in many cases, it's done very well, very well.
Now, we're coming up to that time of year, and I know you guys at Southwest, and I assume most of the other community colleges, but you have solidified your graduation plans, right?
We have, just a word, a lot of community colleges have postponed their graduation, and I certainly think that's a good idea. We here at Southwest, I know probably 2 or 3 other community colleges have decided to have a virtual graduation. I know that Mississippi State and Ole Miss and others have done that. Ours is scheduled for Thursday, May 14th at 4 o'clock. It will be a pre-recorded service, pre-recorded ceremony, and we will actually call out all the names of our graduates. This year, for this spring semester, I think it's around 330, 340 names that would be called. So we're going to do that. We're going to invite those graduates, if they would like to come and participate or walk in our graduation in December, they will be invited to do so. Also, at a later, safer date, a time will be set for those students who may want to come and have a picture with me or the administration as we present them their diploma, so they can have a record or a history of that. So we're trying to offer them some type of closure for this semester. We wanting to acknowledge their hard work and their dedication, their persistence. We wanted to acknowledge not just them, but also the fine job that our faculty has done to get them to this point. We wanted to celebrate with them, and we thought that the idea of a virtual graduation would do just that. It's not something that we really want to do. It's not something that we planned on doing, but we felt like it would be a good way to let the graduates know, hey, we're proud of you, and we're thankful that you came to Southwest. We're thankful that you realized that this endeavor was something that was important. You stuck with it, and we're going to acknowledge that. And we tried to keep our format very similar to a normal graduation. Our Board of Trustees chairman will give a short address to our graduates. I'll say a few words. We'll have a special music, and we'll also have an alma mater sung. So we're trying to keep it as close to a normal graduation as possible. Is it the best way? No. I would love to shake every one of the graduates' hands and congratulate them and give them a big hug. And you know how we are. But this is what we can do for now. And we think this is the best for Southwest at this point in time. So graduation ceremony, as you mentioned before the show began, that has been certainly a top of the conversation with a lot of my fellow educators, in high school especially. And so I commend them for their efforts trying to make sure that we commend and celebrate with all these graduates.
Well, one final graduation question. It is my understanding that Drake actually made it and is going to graduate. Do I owe some extra money for that? Do I need to slip you a 20 under the table or something, my son?
Well,
because I'm frankly shocked.
Don't be so hard on Drake now. Drake has been an outstanding leader on our campus. Some of you may know Drake. Drake is a member of he's actually manager, a student coach, if you will, for our men's basketball team. He's a hard worker. He's certainly been a leader on our campus and done well with his program of study. And everybody on campus loves Drake, and they even know that his dad is Dave. But we've had
and they love him anyway.
Love him anyway. So I wish we had about 1,000 more just like him.
That is kind of you to say, Doc. We appreciate your time today. I know you got stuff to do. You're in a suit, so you got to go be seen right now, right? Dr. Steve Bishop, Southwest Mississippi Community College in Summit. We appreciate it. Let's catch up and have lunch soon, man.
Sounds great. Thank you so much.